Hello and welcome to the Networking 101 course that we're going to refer to as the Bni Buster. My name is Russ Fitzpatrick from Annie Mac Works, and the National Association of Realtors just put out some statistical observations about where the real estate business is coming from, where your transaction volume is coming from, where your referrals are coming from, and the NAR has spoken. Friends and family and referrals and customers, active customers and past customers are making up more than 50% of the buyer transaction volume seen by NAR. The seller listing sources are more than 68% friends, family, referrals, customer. That means active customers, past customers, referrals from family and friends make up 68% of all listings and over 50% of all buyers. The methodologies used for advancing these primary sources of business are networking, sphere of influence, BNI groups like Business Networking International, and farm areas where you become a friend or a family member. You become a known entity in that community. And that's what NAR is saying, that 50% of all the buyers come from, and more than a majority of sellers find their agent through a referral from a friend, neighbor, or relative, or use an agent they're working with or have worked with before. 80% of all sellers contact only one agent before finding the right agent. That means 80% of consumers rely on a family or friend. They don't interview multiple agents. They simply use someone that their family or friend or neighbor or relative used. So this referral market for sellers is very, very powerful. For buyers, it's cheaper than buying leads. It's cheaper than Google pay-per-click. If you take 48% referred by family, friends, or neighbors or relatives, and 12% used an agent that they had worked with in the past, you're talking about 60% of all the consumers on the buy side of a transaction, and 63% of all the sellers on the listing side of the transaction. And look at the second statistic: 67% of the buyers only ever spoke to one agent. 89% of the buyers would use their agent again or recommend their agents to others. So we're talking about a profound amount of repeat and referral business available to you. One last statistic on this screen: 39% of sellers use the same agent to purchase a home when they sold their home. So you're dipping into a 40% chance that you're going to sell them a new home. But look at this: 85% of sellers purchased their new home from the same agent when it was less than 10 miles away. So you have what's called localized, hyper localized expertise that you could gravitate, you could attract more than 50% of all the buyers and over 60% of all the sellers use the agent that they were referred to by family, friend, neighbor, or relative. So our vision is to help you generate 10 closed sales transactions from free activities, tasks that would take you less than 4 hours a week and cost you no money. So if there were a system that could close you an extra 10 closings, 90 grand a year in commissions, but it only took you 4 hours a week to do it, and I'm going to compound that with 40 weeks a year. You don't have to work 52, you only have to work 40. So 4 actionable items, 4 hours per week, no cost, no money. Our mission is to dramatically impact the career path of our members so that it is unquestionably the result of Annie Mac Works, so that it is unquestionably the result of our relationship to you as a member, that you achieve predetermined benchmarks in your personal and professional life. This is our mission and our vision as it relates to the Bni Buster. And one of the reasons is that leads are killing you guys in 2022, 2023. Buying leads for 55 bucks a pop, or buying leads for 40 bucks a pop, or buying leads for $17 a pop works when there's a boom market, when everybody wants to buy. But when there's a bust market or a slowing, contracting residential real estate market, real estate agents, top real estate agents, move to relationships, referrals, and networking, which does in fact include farming. In order to understand what we're doing, you need to understand what BNI is all about. Business Networking International is a for-profit franchise organization, and we took this information from their website. It says their mission is to help BNI members increase their business through a structured, positive, and professional referral marketing program that enables them to develop long-term, meaningful relationships with quality business professionals. I think that is a worthy ideal. I think that is a fantastic business model. The opportunity to become a BNI member of an existing chapter, or to work with the regional team to start a BNI chapter. See, there may not be a local BNI chapter in your market, or there may be a chapter that exists, but there's already a realtor, there's already a mortgage banker, there's already a title company in there. So if you'd like to stop this module now and go to the BNI website, you will find that for several $100s a year per member, you can access this franchise, this for-profit franchise. You can join an existing chapter if there's no other realtor in it, or as a realtor, you can approach them to become a chapter founder, start a new chapter. The way that BNI works, as far as I can tell, is you meet on a weekly basis to identify business leaders who collectively refer to each other. Now, the cool thing I've found is that it's exclusive, meaning there's one realtor, there's one mortgage company, there's one title company, there's one air conditioning company, one roofer, one Chinese restaurant, one pool company. Now, the rules of each chapter may vary, and the categories that they allow people to join, like there might be one commercial realtor and one residential realtor, or there might be one Chinese restaurant and one Thai restaurant. That doesn't matter, but that each of the categories and levels of exclusivity and or price really does change by every chapter. It's set by the chapter founders. And I think the most valuable piece of the puzzle might be 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after every meeting, where you can actually sit down with a roofer, sit down with a plumber, sit down with a financial planner, and really make a meaningful referral relationship between the two companies. This is what works really well with BNI. And I've interviewed, I've consulted with, I've talked to many people that are part of BNI groups, and it is a fantastic source of additional business. Now we're going to combine this very popular grassroots networking system with a hyper-local, shop local level of exclusivity. That means you're going to be able to align with other business leaders from the same community. And I want you to imagine that you were the chapter president for a shop local networking group. And your job as the president was to coordinate other business leaders from your community to share referrals. So it's just like a BNI group, but without all the fees. If you had 40 members of your group paying BNI $500 a year, you're looking at, 20 grand a year that's going out just in fees. That's up to you. If you think that's a good deal or not, you can go join a BNI. What I had in mind is that your mortgage partner, your title partner, and your real estate experience would combine to form a BNI comparable chapter. Not a BNI chapter, but a BNI comparable chapter of local business leaders who agree to refer business to each other exclusively. So the job at hand, the first job that you have is to decide if you running a BNI comparable chapter is worth your time. And if it is, then I would reach out to a mortgage professional and a title professional and say, hey, we need to have a cup of coffee and watch this Bni Buster session. And we need to decide if this is something we want to do as a team. So networking is not something you have or don't have. It's something you do or don't do. Once established, your particular chapter in your local community will set some ground rules and make sure everybody agrees with those rules. So you have the advantage of decades and decades of experience. Similar rules have been established and followed working in BNI chapters in 56 countries. So BNI is a fantastic template, a fantastic model to observe and to copy. It's not illegal to copy a model. It's illegal to copy copywritten materials. I read their website. I shared some of their website to you. Their website is public information. You can go on their website and read it. So I'm not breaking any rules or laws here. All I'm trying to say is if I'm a mortgage banker, if I'm a realtor, and I'm a title company, I have the nucleus of 3 high ticket transactions that could form a BNI comparable chapter. And I think the rules are maybe the most important thing. And that's why I'm going to talk to our shop local referral network leaders for a few minutes today and say, imagine we had a realtor from Queens who became really, really good friends with a mortgage banker from Queens. And they collectively invited this title company from Queens, New York. Now, all of a sudden in Queens, New York, you have 3 professional, committed shop local referral network leaders who now are in charge of building a chapter. Now, you can build a chapter in 5 minutes because there's no fees for this chapter. You're not going to have to charge the builder or the construction guy a fee, the financial planner or the insurance vendor a fee. You're simply going to say, if you follow the rules and participate in our group, we're going to refer roofing contracts to only one roofer. We're going to refer air conditioning repairs and air conditioning replacement and air conditioning maintenance to one air conditioning company. One swimming pool company is going to be part of this shop local referral network. One chiropractor, one weight loss company, one veterinarian, one dentist, one optometrist. We might going to go into a Chinese restaurant, an Italian restaurant, maybe a DJ, a wedding planner, maybe a caterer. Is there a particular pub or an event venue? Do you have a bed and breakfast or an inn or an equipment rental company that can join your local Bni Buster chapter, or what we're calling our shop local referral network? So you can imagine, just like a BNI group, if you have 40 meetings a year, probably 30 of the required meetings are local. So they're in your Queens, New York, at the diner in the morning, and you're meeting with all these people, and you have a formal meeting agenda, and then you talk about your businesses. Now, one of the things that's really cool that I've heard BNI do is to give each vendor 1 minute. 1 minute to present their company or ask a question of the group. And every single member, whether it's 20 members, 30 members, or 40 members, are all committed to referring business to the vendors of this Shop Local referral network. It's a very, very sexy tool. So you can imagine that Shop Local Queens, New York has a meeting once a week, 30 weeks out of the year, and you guys get to talk to each other about how you can better refer business to each other. These are incredibly powerful groups, but formality is important. Most people are busy. They just want the biggest return on invested time. They want the biggest bang for the buck. Your Shop Local networking group sounds lovely, and I'd like to be the exclusive pizza joint in Queens, New York, but what's it going to cost me? And what am I going to get? Well, I like to say that, Shop Local Referral Network is just like any other BNI chapter all over the globe. You get out of it what you put into it. Networking groups like the JCs or Kiwanis or Junior League or the Chamber of Commerce exist, but they only benefit members who participate. So we've come up with an incredible way to create a free Shop Local networking group and empower our realtor partners to lead these groups with their mortgage and title partners. But just like the Chamber of Commerce that exists right down the street from you right now, you get out of it what you put into it. But unlike the Chamber of Commerce, unlike Junior League, unlike Kiwanis, and unlike traditional BNI franchise chapters, you will only pay fees. Fees will only be paid by people who do not participate in meetings. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that right now. AndyMac Works is going to work as a network manager for the Shop Local network for realtors, mortgage bankers, and title companies. So you can substitute a closing attorney for a title company, but those three vendors, realtor, mortgage, and title, they're going to operate as the three-legged stool for this BNI comparable chapter. The Shop Local network is going to be led by a realtor, a mortgage banker, and a title company, and the cost is $1 annually. The reason there's a $1 fee is because we slide your credit card, we hold that credit card on file, and we get a report every week of who attended the meetings. You got 30 meetings a year that are local chapter meetings, and then you have 6 meetings a year that are online meetings with the national network, and then you have 1 meeting annually per year that is in person. 1 meeting a year that you go to the Shop Local network retreat, and that is required of your membership. Now, other members, other community leaders, restaurateurs, fitness professionals, financial planners, insurance vendors can also join for $1, and they also agree to pay a non-participation fee if they don't attend a meeting, or they don't attend the national conference, or they don't attend the 6 annual meetings a year that are national online meetings. So this might sound a little confusing and a little unconventional, but imagine there's 40 meetings per year, 30 which are live, 6 which are online, and then 1 national meeting that you have to attend live in person, and that costs you $400 a year if you don't attend any meetings. You're going to pay $10 per meeting if you don't come to the meeting. Now, we're going to keep your seat alive as the exclusive air conditioning contractor. We're going to keep your seat alive as the exclusive mortgage banker inside of that chapter, but you're going to be able to skip a meeting for $10. Now, this is a powerful accountability tool because if you miss a couple meetings, no big deal. But if you're really not participating, you have to pay $400 a year to be in that seat. If you don't participate at all, we're going to find another vendor. But we came up with this cute idea because if we had 1,000 members and a few didn't show up, we would receive some revenue to help us manage the network itself. And that, my friends, is my most fair and equitable solution to help manage this local network. If you're participating fully, it's going to cost you $1 a year. If you're not participating fully, it's going to cost you up to $400 a year. Now, as a gift, we're going to give you the interest rate myth buster, a fixed 30-year mortgage rate myth that if rates are above 4%, somehow people don't buy houses. And that could not be further from the truth. Interest rates can only do one of three things: go up, stay the same, or go down. And people are going to be buying houses whether interest rates are at 6, 7, or 8%. And I guarantee that's the truth, because the biggest boom I ever lived through was right after I graduated high school, when interest rates spiked up to some of the highest numbers we'd ever seen. And I was selling real estate during that time, and I was making a damn good living. 7% interest rates in 2004 and 5 created the biggest boom we ever saw. And a 4% interest rate market was one of the biggest busts we ever saw in 2010, 11, and 12. So don't tell me that real estate markets don't move up when the interest rates are high. That is a wimpy excuse for not being a good salesperson, and people will buy and sell houses while interest rates are low. We're going to give you the interest rate myth buster, agents in action. Just scan on the QR code and we'll send you our Canva account where you can access this and personalize the interest rate myth buster free from any charge. Let's face it, folks, the average interest rate in the United States over the last 50 years was 7.75. The highest interest rates when I was selling real estate was 18, 17, 16, 15% in the 80s. And the lowest interest rate we've ever seen was 2.65. I don't think we're ever going to see it again. But I'll bet you between 4 and 7% interest rates, people are going to be buying up houses as fast as they can, right up through until the election of 2024. And we will see what happens then, right? Chapter builders. If you're a realtor, a mortgage banker, a title company, you may join our exclusive Shop Local referral network for $1 and grow your own chapter. 1-800-299-WORKS if you want to talk about it. Service at AndyMacWorks. If you want to email me, go to our website, AndyMacWorks.com, and form a chapter today. You can scan on that QR code on the bottom right-hand side of your screen if you don't want to dial us up. Thank you for your commitment. You know, your participation in this is absolutely a voluntary participation. But as I stated before in the accountability mechanism, your commitment is mandatory, meaning don't join if you don't intend to attend meetings, if you don't intend to invest time and energy 4 hours a week. But if you want to do an extra 10 or 12 transactions this year, you might want to take a look at what other realtors across the country have achieved with BNI and other referral networks like the JC's, Kiwanis Club, Young Republicans Club, the Chamber of Commerce. You get the idea. We want to manage your Shop Local referral network, and we can only do that with your participation. So we thank you very much for your time and attention, and we will see you at the closing table.